How did one harmless shopping spree turn into divorce papers handed to me in a public lobby? Why did my husband stay calm for weeks, then hit me with a legal result that started the same day? I thought I could control the story until a receptionist called my name and security stood close. My name is Araminta Caldwell, but everyone called me Minta because my full name sounded like a storybook. I was 34, and I worked as a leasing coordinator in a busy office. I helped people find apartments, I smiled all day, and I solved small problems fast. I told myself I was the kind of woman who kept things moving. If I stopped, everything would fall apart. That was what I believed, and I used it like a shield. That week, the closet felt like a trap. I stood in front of my side and saw dull colors, old cuts, and clothes that made me look like someone's tired wife. I hated that feeling. I told myself I did not marry Ethan to become invisible. Ethan was 36 and worked in IT compliance. He liked rules. He liked clean lines. He liked saving for the future. He was good and steady, and people praised him for it, like steady was enough to make a woman happy. Ethan asked why I was staring at the closet. I said I was planning outfits for work. He asked why I looked tense. I said I had a big week and needed to look sharp. He said we should keep spending low because rent was due soon. I said he always brought up money when I brought up my needs. He asked what I meant by needs. I said confidence was a need, and respect followed results, and I had results. He sighed and said he was not trying to fight. I said he was always fighting, just in a quiet way. Nora, our daughter, ran into the room with her socks half on. She asked if we could go to the park after school. Ethan told her yes if homework was done. I told her we could do both, and I made it sound fun. Ethan gave me a look like I was promising too much again. I pretended I did not see it. I did not want to be measured in front of my child. I checked my phone while I brushed my hair. I had a message from Jace Harper. He was 25 and worked at a boutique in the mall. I met him there months ago when I needed a last-minute blazer for a work event. He made it easy. He looked at me like I was a woman, not a schedule. He told me colors that woke me up. He asked what I wanted to look like. No one asked me that anymore. Jace sent a short line about a new shipment. He said it would fit me perfect. I felt heat in my face, like I was young again. I told myself it was harmless. I told myself Ethan did not notice me, so it did not matter if someone else did. I told myself that was fair. At work, I watched women walk past my desk with new shoes and neat hair. I listened to men praise them for being put together. I told myself I deserved the same. I opened my budgeting app, not because I cared, but because Ethan cared. Rent sat there like a brick. I could almost hear Ethan's voice when I saw the number. I closed the app and opened my calendar instead. There was a reminder Ethan had placed on our shared schedule. Rent transfer 9 p.m. It looked like a command. I changed it to rent transfer, maybe. I smiled at the small act like I was taking my life back. That afternoon, I told Ethan I needed to run errands after work. He asked what errands. I said I needed office supplies and maybe a pharmacy stop. He asked if we needed anything at home. I said no, not really. He asked if I wanted him to pick Nora up. I said I would handle it, and I made my voice sweet so he could not argue without sounding mean. I drove to the mall instead of the pharmacy. I parked close to the main doors, like I was late for something important. In my head, I was. When I walked into Jace's boutique, the lights made everything look clean and new. Jace smiled like he had been waiting. He asked how my day was. I said it was heavy. He said I did not look heavy, and he said I looked ready. I told myself that was the truth. He pulled pieces for me without asking my size like it was obvious. He handed me a jacket with sharp shoulders, a dress that hugged without being too much, and shoes that made my legs look longer. He asked what my husband thought of my style. I said, Ethan liked me simple. I said it like it was an insult. Jace said simple was safe and safe was boring. I laughed. and it felt like permission. I went into the fitting area with the clothes stacked on my arm. I looked in the mirror and saw someone I could respect. I saw a woman who could walk into a room and make people listen. I told myself I needed that for work. I told myself that if I looked better, I would earn more, and then rent would be easy. I told myself it was a smart move, not a selfish one. At the counter, Jace asked if I wanted to put it on one card or split it. I said one card. My hand went to the card Ethan and I shared for bills. I hesitated for half a second, then pushed it forward like I had already decided. The total was bigger than I expected. I felt a sting in my chest, but I did not stop. I told myself Ethan spent money too, just in ways he called responsible. I told myself my spending was visible, and that was why he judged it. If he could see it, he could control it. The receipt printed long and thin. Jace folded the clothes neatly and placed them in clean bags. He asked when he would see me again. I said soon, and I said it like I was doing him a favor. He asked if I was happy at home. I said home was fine, but fine was not the same as loved. He nodded like he understood, and I felt powerful, like my problems had meaning. I picked Nora up wearing one of the new pieces under my coat. She looked at me and asked why I smelled like a store. I said I had to grab something for work. She asked if it was for a fancy meeting. I said yes, and she seemed impressed. That mattered more than it should have. At home, Ethan stood in the kitchen and stirred a pot with slow patience. He asked how errands went. I said the pharmacy line was long. He asked what I bought. I said basic things and moved my bags quickly toward the bedroom. He watched me, and I felt his eyes like a hand on my back. After dinner, he asked if I had done the rent transfer yet. I said I was about to. He asked why I looked nervous. I said I was tired. He said we could do it together, to make sure it went through. I said I did not need help like a child. He asked why I turned everything into a fight. I said, because he turned everything into control. When he went to shower, I opened the banking app fast. My heart beat hard, like I was doing something wrong, even though I told myself I was not. I saw the account balance and felt cold. The rent money was still there, but now it was not enough. Not clean enough. Not safe enough. I moved money between categories in the app like I was rearranging furniture. I told myself I would fix it next paycheck. I told myself I could sell a few old items. I told myself Ethan could cover the gap if needed because he always did. Then I turned off notifications for the banking app. I deleted the last store alert. I told myself I was preventing stress, not hiding. Later, Ethan sat on the couch with his phone, and Nora leaned against him with a cartoon playing. I walked past them with a calm face. Ethan looked up and asked if we were okay. I said we were fine and kissed Nora's head to prove it. Ethan nodded, but his eyes stayed on me. A few minutes after that, his phone lit up on the cushion beside him. I did not mean to look, but I looked. I saw a bank push notification flash on his lock screen. It showed a store name from the mall, the one on the receipt I thought I hid. The screen dimmed again, but the damage stayed. I stood still with my mouth half open. Ethan reached for the phone, and his fingers paused like he felt my stare. He looked at the screen, then at me. He did not raise his voice. He just asked what that charge was. I felt my face tighten, and I forced a small laugh like it was nothing. I said it was for work and it was not a big deal. I said he was always watching, and it was exhausting. Ethan did not argue. He only nodded once, slow, and the calmness scared me more than anger. The next morning, Ethan moved around the kitchen like a careful guest. He packed Nora's lunch without asking me what to add. He wiped the counter in straight lines. He did not bring up the charge again. That should have made me feel safe, but it made me feel watched in a new way. I asked if he was still upset. He said he was not upset, just focused. I asked what that meant. He said rent was due and he needed clarity. I said he was acting like a manager, not a husband. He said he was acting like a parent who could not miss a payment. I told myself he was using Nora to win the argument. It made me angry, and I liked my anger because it made me feel right. In the car, I checked my phone at red lights. I expected Jace to send something sweet. He sent a short message about how the jacket looked made for me. I felt my stomach lift. I told myself that was proof. Proof that I was not crazy for wanting more. At the office, the open-plan space was loud with small talk and printer noise. I walked in with my chin high. I wore the new jacket, and I could feel how it shaped me. Brielle noticed fast. She asked if I got a new piece. I said yes and acted casual. She said it looked expensive. I said it was an investment. Brielle asked if Ethan liked it. I rolled my eyes and said he would rather I wear the same sweater forever. She asked if he was still tight with money. I said he acted like every dollar was a test. I said he watched my spending like I was a teenager. I said it was exhausting to live under a microscope. Brielle made a face like she understood. Another coworker, Danny, listened while pretending to stir coffee. She asked if Ethan was controlling. I said he was not violent or loud, but he was always measuring me. I made it sound worse by staying calm. They asked why I stayed. I said I stayed for Nora and stability. I said I carried the emotional weight and still got blamed. I said I just wanted to feel seen. The words came out smooth, like I had practiced them. I did not mention the mall. I did not mention the receipt. My manager walked by and asked if I could handle a difficult tenant call. I said I could, and I smiled like my life was simple. I solved the problem, sent the email, and felt proud. I told myself that if I could fix other people's housing issues, I could fix my own. That was the lie I liked best. At lunch, I ate at my desk and scrolled. Brielle sent me a link to a reel trend about glow-ups after marriage. She said it was basically me. I laughed and replied with a heart. Then I made a post of my outfit, not a full-body shot, just enough to show the jacket and my wrist. I used a caption about work confidence. I told myself it was for me. I also told myself Ethan would see it and regret taking me for granted. A few minutes later, a notification popped up. A mutual friend liked the post. Another comment said I looked fresh. I felt heat in my face again. I screenshotted the comment and sent it to Jace. I wrote that I was finally feeling like myself. He replied fast and said I should not let anyone dull me. I read it twice, like it was medicine. Then my email pinged. The subject line made my throat tighten. It was the landlord reminder about rent. It said payment was due soon, and late fees would apply. It was not rude, just firm. It felt like a spotlight. I told myself Ethan would handle it. I told myself he always did. I told myself I could move money around again, like it was a game. I closed the email and opened a spreadsheet, pretending I was working. The cells looked empty and cold. I typed a few numbers, then stopped because the truth was too clear. Later, Ethan texted to ask what time I would pick Nora up. I said I would be there on time. He asked if I needed him to do it. I said no and added a smile emoji to make it sweet. He replied with a simple okay. No heart, no extra words. I told myself he was being dramatic. After work, I drove toward the school and checked my reflection in the mirror at a stop sign. I adjusted the jacket collar and felt proud again. Pride was easier than worry. At the pickup line, the cars in front of me barely moved. A parent behind me honked once, then stopped. I looked down at my phone, and the landlord email preview was still there because I had not fully cleared it. I swiped it away and told myself that was control. Nora climbed into the back seat and asked if we could go to the park. I said maybe, depending on homework. She asked why Dad slept in the other room last night. I said he had work stress and needed space. She asked if I did something bad. I said no, and I said adults just get tired. She accepted it because she had to. On the drive home, Nora talked about a class project. I nodded and tried to listen. My mind kept slipping back to Ethan's calm face and that single bank alert. I told myself he would move on. I told myself he was too predictable to change. When we reached our building, I saw Ethan's car behind mine in the line to turn in. That surprised me. He normally got home later. My hands tightened on the wheel. I told myself it meant nothing. I told myself he was just being responsible, like always. Inside the apartment, Ethan was already setting out Nora's snack. He did not ask where I had been. He did not ask about the mall. He did not ask about the rent. He asked Nora about school and listened with real attention. That made me feel small, like my fun parent story was not enough. I pulled Ethan aside near the kitchen sink. I asked why he was so quiet. He said he was choosing his words. I asked if he was punishing me. He said he was not punishing me. He was protecting the basics. I asked what basics. He said a home, a child, and a stable plan. I told him he was acting cold. He said he was acting careful. I said he was trying to scare me. He said he was trying to understand what was real. I felt my anger rise again, because his calm did not give me anything to grab. That night, after Nora went to bed, I walked past the living room and saw Ethan's laptop open. A spreadsheet was on the screen, but I could not read the title. He clicked it away when he noticed me. He said he was organizing bills. I said he was obsessed. He said he was done living in surprises. I went to the bedroom and shut the door with more force than needed. I told myself he deserved the tension. I told myself my choices were a reaction, not a cause. Still, when I looked at my phone and saw Jace's name light up, my stomach flipped with relief, and I hated that relief because it felt like proof of guilt. Friday came with a kind of nervous energy that felt like power. I told myself I deserved a night out. I told myself Ethan had been cold all week, and I could not live like a person on probation. I told myself I was not doing anything wrong. I was just reclaiming my life. Jace messaged in the afternoon and said there was a rooftop spot with music and heat lamps. He said I should wear the jacket again. I read it and smiled like I was the one in control. I told him I would come after work. He asked if my husband would get jealous. I said Ethan did not get jealous. I said Ethan barely reacted to anything. I said it like it was proof that my choices did not matter. At the office, Brielle noticed my mood. She asked if I had weekend plans. I said I did. She asked if Ethan was coming. I said he was not into fun places. She laughed and said I should bring the jacket again because it made me look important. I said I wanted to feel important for once. Danny asked if Ethan still monitored spending. I said yes, and I added that he used money to control the house. They both acted shocked, like Ethan was the villain in a story they already wanted to believe. Before I left work, I sent Ethan a message about Nora's pickup. I said I would handle it. He replied with a short okay. That annoyed me. I wanted him to ask questions. I wanted him to beg for clarity. Instead, he just accepted my words like he was done arguing. I picked Nora up on time and took her home. She asked if we were having family movie night. I said maybe tomorrow. She asked why Dad did not sit with me at dinner anymore. I said Dad had work stress and needed quiet. She asked if Dad still loved me. I said yes, of course, but my voice sounded thin. Nora accepted it again, because children do that when they have no choice. I told Ethan I had a work happy hour that night. He asked where. I named a place near downtown that sounded normal. He asked what time I would be home. I said not late. He asked who was going. I said my co-workers. He nodded and said he would put Nora to bed. He did not try to stop me. That should have felt like freedom. It felt like a door closing. In the car, I changed the plan in my head. I told myself I did not need to be accurate. I told myself Ethan did not own my schedule. I drove to the rooftop bar and parked in a garage below it. I checked my phone and saw a new message from Jace. He said he was already up there and saved a table with a view. I felt a little thrill. I told myself that thrill was proof I was alive. When I reached the rooftop, the air was cold, but the heaters made pockets of warmth. Music played, not too loud, but loud enough to make people lean in close. Jace stood near the railing. He smiled in a way that made me feel chosen. He asked if I liked the place. I said it was perfect. He said I looked expensive. I laughed and said that was the point. I kept my distance in small ways, not because I cared about Ethan's feelings, but because I cared about optics. I told myself I was smart. I told myself I could have a secret life and still look clean in public. Jace asked if he could take a photo of me with the skyline behind me. I said yes, and turned my shoulder like I was on a magazine cover. He posted it quickly and tagged me. I told him not to. He asked why, and I said my husband was weird about social media. Jace said I should not live scared. I told myself he was brave, not careless. Brielle texted to ask where I was, and I told her I was downtown with co-workers. She asked for a picture. I sent one that cropped out Jace's face. She replied with fire emojis and said Ethan would regret making me feel small. I felt a rush of agreement. I told myself that my friends understood me better than my husband did. I told myself that if Ethan was embarrassed, it was his fault for not keeping up. Around 10, my phone buzzed again. This time it was Ethan. He asked if I could talk. I said I was in a loud place and asked what he needed. He said there was a schedule mix-up and he needed to confirm something about Nora's morning. I said I would message later. He asked where I was exactly. I said I was near downtown. He paused and said he was already driving to pick Nora up from my sister's place because Kelsey had called him by mistake. That confused me. I asked why Kelsey would call him. He said Kelsey thought Nora was with her, and then realized she was not. I snapped that Nora was safe at home with him. He said he knew, but he wanted to clear the confusion face to face because Nora was hearing too much. I told myself Ethan was creating drama on purpose. I told myself he was trying to pull me out of the night and punish me. I did not leave. I stayed, and I let the night keep going like a dare. Then I saw him. Ethan walked onto the rooftop with his coat zipped and his face calm. He did not look angry. He looked tired and steady, like a man who had already decided not to perform. My stomach dropped anyway. Jace's smile faded. He asked who that was. I said it was my husband, and I said it like Ethan was the one who did not belong. Brielle was there too, because she had come downtown with another friend. She saw Ethan and widened her eyes like she was watching a show. She stepped closer to me, not to protect me, but to witness me. She asked if everything was okay. I said it was fine. Ethan asked if we could talk for a minute. I said we could talk right there. He asked if Jace was the person I had been meeting. I said Jace was a stylist and helped me with outfits. Ethan asked why a stylist was taking photos of me at night. I said he was being dramatic. Ethan asked why I told him a different location. I said I forgot the name of the place and that it did not matter. Jace tried to joke and asked Ethan if he wanted a drink. Ethan said no. He said he was there to pick up his wife and go home, if she wanted. I said I did not need to be picked up like a child. Brielle laughed under her breath. I pretended not to notice. Ethan looked at me for a long moment. He asked if I understood how it looked. I said looks were not reality. He asked if I planned to come home soon. I said yes, when I was ready. He nodded once and said okay. He said he would go, and he said Nora was asleep and safe. He did not threaten me. He did not call me names. He did not raise his voice. That made my skin crawl, because I could not paint him as unstable in front of everyone. As he turned to leave, Brielle lifted her phone like she was checking notifications, but I could see she was aiming it toward him. She asked if Ethan was always like this. I said yes, always serious, always policing. Ethan heard it. He did not respond. He simply walked away and disappeared down the stairwell. I stood there with Jace and felt a strange mix of relief and panic. Jace asked if Ethan would cause problems. I said Ethan would not do anything. I said Ethan was too predictable. I said it to convince myself. In the parking garage, I sat in my car and stared at my reflection in the mirror. I saw the jacket, the lipstick, the confident mask. Under it, I saw fear. I told myself not to be scared. I told myself Ethan would cool off like always. Still, when I drove home, the apartment felt different, like the air had shifted. Ethan was not on the couch. The living room lights were off. In the hallway, I saw the guest room door cracked open. I heard a soft beep, like a phone app starting and stopping. I told myself it was nothing. I told myself I was imagining things. I went into our bedroom and found his pillow missing. On the kitchen counter, his mug was rinsed and turned upside down, separate from mine. The quiet felt organized, not sad. That scared me more than any fight. Saturday morning felt like a test I did not agree to take. Ethan made pancakes for Nora and did not offer one to me. He did not say he was mad. He did not ask about the rooftop. He acted like I was a coworker who had missed a deadline. I asked if he was going to ignore me all weekend. He said he was not ignoring me. He was keeping the house calm for Nora. I said he was using Nora as a shield. He said he was using peace as a shield because yelling fixed nothing. I told myself he was trying to look noble. I told myself he was performing for an audience, even when the audience was just our child. Nora asked why Dad did not sit next to Mom at breakfast. Ethan said he needed space to think. I said he was being dramatic. Ethan looked at Nora and said she did not need to choose sides. I felt my throat tighten because it sounded like he already believed there were sides. After breakfast, I said we should go to the playground as a family, like normal people. Ethan asked if that was really for Nora or for me. I said it was for Nora. He said okay and packed water and wipes without arguing. His calm made me feel like I was the messy one, so I pushed harder. At the playground, the air was cold and bright. Nora ran to the swings. Ethan stood near the fence and watched her with full attention. I sat on a bench and scrolled my phone, but I kept glancing at him. He did not glance at me much. That made me angry in a quiet way. A mother from Nora's class sat nearby and smiled at Ethan. She asked if he was having a good weekend. Ethan said he was doing his best. I wanted to jump in and steer the story, so I laughed and said Ethan was in a mood lately. The mother asked if everything was okay. I said yes, just normal stress. Ethan did not correct me. He just nodded once, like he was letting me talk because it was easier. When Nora came back for water, she asked if we could get ice cream later. I said yes right away. Ethan said maybe after lunch. I said Ethan always said no first. Ethan said he was not saying no, he was saying later. I rolled my eyes, and Nora watched me. I saw her copy my face for a second, and I felt a strange satisfaction and a strange shame at the same time. Ethan's phone buzzed, and he checked it quickly. I saw a calendar screen for a second before he locked it. The text was small, but I caught a time and the word personal. He noticed my stare and asked if I needed something. I said no. I just wondered why he was always on his phone now. He said he was organizing. I said he never organized like this before. He said people changed when they had to. I called my mother on the way home. Sharon answered on the first ring, like she had been waiting. She asked what happened last night. I said Ethan showed up and embarrassed me. I said he acted jealous and controlling in front of everyone. I left out the details that made me look bad. Sharon said Ethan sounded insecure. She said men hated it when women upgraded. She asked if I was still seeing that young guy. I said it was not like that. She laughed and said I did not need to explain myself to her. I told Sharon that Ethan was acting cold and silent. She said silent treatment was emotional abuse. She said I should not let him punish me for being attractive. I felt relief in her certainty. It gave me permission to keep blaming him. Kelsey texted later and asked if Nora was okay. I said Nora was fine and Ethan was just being weird. Kelsey asked if I had used rent money on clothes. I felt heat rise in my neck. I asked why she would say that. She said she heard Mom mention shopping, and she was worried. I told her she was being dramatic, and that Ethan made everything about money. Kelsey said money mattered when it was rent. I told her she always took Ethan's side because he was nice to people. Kelsey did not reply for a while, and that silence bothered me more than her words. In the afternoon, Ethan suggested we all go to his parents for dinner. He said Donna wanted to see Nora. I said his mother just wanted to judge me. Ethan said Donna wanted to keep family together. I said Donna never liked me anyway. Ethan said Donna had always been polite, and I was the one who turned everything into a battle. I said he was defending her again. He said he was stating facts. At the restaurant, the long table was already set. Donna hugged Nora and asked about school. Frank smiled and asked Ethan about work. They acted normal, but I could feel the tension under the plates and napkins. Donna asked how I was. I said I was busy and tired. Donna asked if I was eating enough. I said yes. Donna asked if things were stable at home. I said stable was a funny word. I said Ethan liked stable more than happiness. Ethan looked at his plate and did not react. That made me push again. I said Ethan had been watching my spending and asking questions like I was doing something wrong. Donna asked if rent was paid. I blinked and said we were fine. Frank asked what fine meant. I said it meant handled. Ethan finally spoke and said rent was not paid yet. He said it in a flat voice, not angry, not dramatic. My face went hot. Donna asked me if I had moved the rent money. I said Ethan was exaggerating to make me look bad. Ethan asked if I wanted him to lie to his parents. I said he should protect his wife. He said he would protect his child first. Donna's eyes tightened, and Frank's jaw set. They did not shout. They just looked at me like they were seeing me for the first time. I tried to regain control fast. I said Ethan was emotionally distant and that I had been carrying the marriage alone. I said he made me feel unwanted. Donna asked if feeling unwanted justified risking Nora's home. I said she was twisting my words. Frank asked Ethan what he planned to do. Ethan said he planned to handle things properly and quietly. Donna nodded like that was the only answer she wanted to hear. Nora returned from the restroom and climbed into her chair. She looked at the adults and sensed the air. She asked why everyone was so serious. Ethan told her grown-ups were talking about schedules. I said it was just boring money talk. Nora asked why Dad slept in the other room. The question landed on the table like a dropped glass. Ethan said he needed space to think and keep calm. Donna reached for Nora's hand and said adults sometimes needed space, but kids were loved the same. Nora asked if Mom and Dad were getting divorced. My heart jumped, and I wanted to blame Ethan for that word being in her mouth. Ethan told Nora they were going to take things one day at a time. He said Nora would be safe. Donna looked at me, waiting to see if I would say anything kind. I did not want to give her that win. I said Nora was worrying because Ethan was acting cold. Ethan looked at me and asked if I could stop making Nora carry our fight. I said he was the one who brought it here by telling them about rent. Ethan said he did not bring it here, my choices did. After dinner, Ethan stood to leave early. He thanked his parents and helped Nora put on her coat. Donna asked Ethan to call her later. Ethan said he would. Frank patted Ethan's shoulder and said nothing, but it felt like a decision made without words. In the car ride home, Nora hummed softly like she was trying to fill the silence. Ethan drove with both hands on the wheel. I stared out the window and told myself I was still the victim. I still think that in small flashes, because it is easier than admitting I lit the match. When we got home, Ethan carried Nora inside and tucked her in without looking at me once. The next day, I woke up with a dry mouth and a hard feeling in my chest. I told myself it was because Ethan had embarrassed me at his parents' dinner. I told myself it was because Donna looked at me like I was a problem to be solved. I did not tell myself it was because rent was still not paid. Ethan was already up. I heard the sink running and a soft click, like a drawer closing gently. I walked into the kitchen and saw 2 mugs on the counter, but they were spaced apart like strangers. Ethan asked if I wanted coffee. I said yes, then I waited for him to say sorry for last night. He did not. He asked if we could talk after Nora went to school. I said we could talk now. He said he wanted it calm and private. I said he was always planning conversations like meetings. He said he did not want Nora hearing adult stress again. Nora came out in her coat and asked if we could have a fun weekend soon. Ethan told her yes and said they could go to the library after school. I said we could go to the park too. Ethan said maybe, depending on homework and time. I rolled my eyes and Nora watched me. Ethan did not react. He just tied Nora's scarf tighter and opened the door. When they left, I stood in the hallway and listened to the building quiet. I wanted to feel free, but I felt trapped by numbers and silence. I checked my phone and saw a message from Jace. He asked if I was okay after the husband scene. I hated how he wrote it, like Ethan was an obstacle, not a person. I replied that I was fine and that Ethan was being dramatic. I added that Ethan liked control. Jace replied that I deserved peace and fun. I read it twice and told myself that was love, even though it was more like applause. Ethan came back later from dropping Nora off. He sat at the table with his phone face down. He asked if I could look at the bank account with him. I said he was obsessed. He said he was trying to prevent late fees and stress. I said he acted like I was stealing from him. He said it was not acting when numbers were missing. He asked if I used the rent money for the clothes. I said I used some money, but it was for work. He asked why the amount was so high for work. I said work had standards and I had to keep up. He asked why I did not tell him first. I said because he always said no and made me feel small. He said he did not say no to needs. He said no to bad timing. I said he never understood timing for feelings. He asked where I went on Friday night. I said I went out with co-workers. He asked why I named one place and was at another. I said I forgot the name. He asked if I met Jace there. I said Jace was just a friend. Ethan asked what kind of friend took photos and saved tables. I said Ethan was twisting normal things. I said he was paranoid and jealous. Ethan nodded like he was taking notes in his head, and that made me want to scream. He stood up and walked to the counter. I saw him open a cabinet and pull out a folder. The tab said Utilities. Another folder behind it said Bank. He did not wave them at me. He did not slam anything. He only placed the folders in a neat stack. He said he was organizing bills and records because he could not live in confusion anymore. I said he was being extreme. He said extreme was missing rent and pretending it was nothing. I tried to take control by turning it into a feelings talk. I said he had been distant for years. I said he stopped initiating romance and then acted shocked when I needed attention. He asked if I was blaming him for spending rent money. I said I was explaining why I felt forced into survival mode. He said survival mode was paying rent, not shopping. I said he was cold. He said he was calm. Later that day, we went to the supermarket because the fridge was empty. Ethan pushed the cart, and I walked beside him like we were a normal couple. I tried to act sweet. I asked if we could reset. He asked what reset meant. I said we could stop fighting and just move on. He asked if moving on included honesty. I said we did not need to dig into details. He said details were the only thing that made truth. At the checkout, the total came up, and Ethan paid without looking at me. I watched his face in the bright store lights. He looked tired, but not broken. That annoyed me because I wanted him to look like he regretted pushing me. I wanted him to chase me, even now. Instead, he asked the cashier for a printed receipt and placed it in his wallet carefully. I told myself he was trying to make me look guilty in public. He did not say that. It was my own story. In the parking lot, I asked why he kept receipts now. He said he always kept them, but now he kept them in one place. I said that sounded like a threat. He said it was not a threat, it was responsibility. He loaded the bags into the trunk and left space between us like a wall. When we got home, I called my mother. Sharon answered fast and asked what Ethan was doing. I said he was tracking money and acting like a stranger. Sharon said he was punishing me. She said men used money to control women. She told me to stand firm and not admit anything. I told her I did not do anything wrong. She said even if I did, it was because he pushed me. I liked how she said it, like my choices had no weight. Kelsey called after that. She sounded worried. She asked if rent was paid yet. I snapped and asked why she cared. She said she cared because Nora needed stability. I told her she was judging me. She said she was not judging, she was scared for me. I said she was scared because Ethan was filling her head with his side. She said Ethan did not even talk much, but the facts were loud. I ended the call and told myself she betrayed me. Ethan came into the kitchen while I was still holding my phone. He asked if I was telling people he was controlling. I said, people had eyes and they could see it. He asked if I was trying to build a team against him. I said I was trying to protect myself. He said protecting yourself did not mean destroying someone else's name. That evening, Nora came home and asked why Mom and Dad were quiet again. Ethan told her they were working on grown-up plans. Nora asked if it was her fault. Ethan said no, never. He said she was loved and safe. I watched him say it and felt a sharp twist in my stomach, because he sounded steady and kind, and I did not want him to be. After Nora went to bed, I tried one more time to force a reaction. I told Ethan he was acting like he did not care. He asked what I wanted him to do, yell and beg. I said maybe, because at least that would mean he wanted me. He said he did want a family, but not a family built on lies. I said I did not lie, I just avoided drama. He said avoiding truth was still lying. I heard a small vibration on his phone. He glanced at it and turned it slightly away. I caught a label for 1 second, like an alarm name. It said, paper drop. He silenced it without comment. I asked what that was. He said it was a reminder. I asked for what? He said for something personal. I walked closer and asked if he was planning to leave me. He asked if I was planning to keep disrespecting our home. I said he was the one who disrespected me by making me feel unwanted. He said he would not debate feelings while bills were unpaid and trust was broken. He said he had tried talking in circles, and it changed nothing. Then he looked at me with the same calm face I hated, and he said he was done performing in private and getting mocked in public. He said he would handle everything properly. Monday afternoon, I told myself Ethan's properly line was just a scare tactic. He went to work like normal. He made Nora's lunch like normal. He did not slam doors. He did not block my calls. That calm gave me hope, and I used it to lie to myself. I put on the jacket again, like armor. I went to my office and acted busy. Brielle asked if Ethan had apologized yet. I said he was trying to guilt me, but I was standing strong. Danny asked if he was still tracking me. I said yes, and I hinted that he might be preparing something. They made faces like he was the villain, and I let them. Near lunch, Ethan texted and asked if I could meet him for 10 minutes in the lobby of his office tower, downtown. He said it was easier there because he had something important to finalize. I asked why it had to be there. He said he did not want a scene at home. I said he was acting dramatic again. He replied that it would be quick. I took the train and rehearsed my story in my head. I told myself I would walk in calm and make him feel silly. I told myself I would say I was willing to reset if he stopped policing me. I told myself he would soften because he always did. The lobby was bright and cold, with security desks and polished stone. Ethan stood near a column, hands visible, posture straight. He looked like a man waiting for a bus, not a husband on the edge. When he saw me, he asked if I was okay. I said I was fine and asked what this was about. He said he wanted to do it properly, in a public place, so there were no claims later about yelling or threats. I felt my stomach drop because he was already thinking like that. A woman approached from the side with a neutral face and a clipboard. She asked if I was Araminta Caldwell. I said yes, and my voice sounded too loud in the lobby. She said she had documents for me. I looked at Ethan and asked what he did. He said he filed for divorce, and he did it through the legal process, with evidence, and he was not going to argue in circles anymore. I said he could not do this over clothes. He said it was not over clothes, it was over rent money, lying, and public humiliation. I said he was punishing me because I wanted to feel good. He said he was protecting Nora and the home. The woman told me I was being served. She said there were temporary orders included. I heard phrases like financial restraints, no new charges on joint accounts, and a temporary parenting schedule. My hands shook as I held the papers. I asked Ethan if he was taking my child. He said no, and he said the schedule started today, and Nora would be picked up after school by his mother, and it was already arranged. I saw Donna across the lobby doors, waiting with a small backpack she used for Nora's things. Donna did not look at me. Ethan looked at his phone, then told me the pickup window was in the order and he would follow it exactly. I tried to speak, but the words would not line up. The woman asked me to confirm receipt, and the security guard watched